So recently I'd been thinking it'd be cool to get a Bluetooth amp for my living room because that's generally where I prefer to practice. And the reason I wanted a Bluetooth amp is because they're such great, convenient and practical tools for practice. You know, you can use them for playing along to jam tracks. Most of them have a ton of inbuilt effects and amp models to play around with, so you don't even need to set up a pedal board to get started with your practice routine. Needless to say, I said yes when Fender contacted me and asked if I would like to demo their new Mustang GTX100 amp, which has Bluetooth. So today I'm going to demonstrate some of the tones that you can get from this amp alone, just using the inbuilt effects and amp modeling. And I'm also going to show you how this digital amp interacts with a real pedal board. Of course, I'm also going to take you through some of the more exciting features of this amp and give you my thoughts on it. What's good about it, what's not so good about it. So this is a completely digital 100-watt combo with a 12-inch Celestion speaker, and the amp weighs in at around 10 kilograms or 22 pounds, so it's definitely easy on the back. It comes with a 7-button foot switch that you can use for changing presets, bypassing effects, and you can even use it as a looper. The amp comes packed with over 180 presets that you can modify to your taste, and of course you can build and edit your own from scratch. You can do this using the LCD color display and the large encoder dial, as well as the general amp controls that you'll find on the control panel. All of those things combined make for a very smooth, easy and intuitive editing experience. Now, perhaps the most exciting feature of this amp is its wireless capabilities. You can connect it to your Wi-Fi and connect one of your Android or iOS devices to the amp via Bluetooth. And the reason as to why you would want to do that is not simply so that you can use this amp as a Bluetooth speaker for playing along to jam tracks, which of course you can do. You can also connect the amp to the Fender Tone app on one of your devices, which I have been exploring for the past couple of days, and guys, I have to say I am genuinely very impressed with this app. So let's talk about what it can do. I've got the app downloaded on my phone, I've got the amp connected to my Wi-Fi, and my phone is connected to the amp via Bluetooth. When I open the app, I see a list of the basic presets that the amp comes loaded with. I can go in and edit these presets in any way that I want to. I can add more gain, lower the mids, change the amp, change the speaker cabinet, add effects, remove effects. I can even change the order of the signal chain, which is great. So I can actually choose to place certain effects like maybe compressors and overdrives in front of the amp, and then have effects that I would typically place in an effects loop. I can place them after the amp in the what's called the post effects. So that's essentially a virtual effects loop. But not only can you build and edit your own presets from within the app, you can also try out and download presets that other users have uploaded to the app. You can browse presets by genre, and I like how they've designed it. It kind of looks like Spotify playlist, right? You can browse them by popularity. You can find presets from Fender Play videos, and even ones that have been created by notable artists. You know, the likes of Joe Bonamassa and Gary Clark Jr. have uploaded their own presets to the Fender Tone app, and you can try them out for free if you have a compatible amp. You'll find that a lot of the presets uploaded to the app are based on famous recordings, so it can be really easy for you to dial in tones that are similar to that of your guitar heroes. I decided to create a preset of my own and I've uploaded it to the Fender Tone app, so if you have one of these amps and you're watching at home, you can try it out and download it for yourself, and if you do, then let me know what you think of it. I decided to go for a mid-heavy blues rock lead tone, sort of in the style of Joe Bonamassa around 2008, and so the preset is based around a Marshall Jubilee, which is one of my favorite amps, with a 4x12 cab in it, reverb and delay in the effects loop, and the Mythic drive is in front of the amp, and that is of course based on the Klon Centaur. At least I'm guessing that's what it's based on. Anyway, the preset is called Bulletproof Lead, and I'll leave a link to it in the description box below. The GTX7 foot switch that's included with the amp is very easy to use. It has 3 modes that you can use it with: presets, effects, and looper. Preset mode, as you might have guessed, allows you to switch between different presets using the 5 foot switches along the bottom, and if you need to bank up to access more or bank down to access more, you can do so by using the dedicated button at the top left. Effects mode allows you to bypass up to 5 different effects from within a particular preset, again just using the foot switches along the bottom of the pedal. And notice how each of these 5 foot switches have been labeled for use with the looper. So if you're someone that likes to loop things, then it's going to be very easy for you to get started using this GTX7 foot switch as a looper. If you hold down the mode button, you can use the foot switch as a tuner, but as you can see, it's not the most accurate. It just uses the LEDs above the bottom row of 5 foot switches. So if you want to use the inbuilt tuner from the amp, I would recommend relying on the LCD color display, because that's going to be much more accurate than trying to tune using the foot switch. And that is, of course, if you don't already own a tuner pedal or a clip-on tuner. Speaking of pedals, I have set up a pedal board for this demo to show you guys how well this digital amp interacts with real pedals. So here's the board, here's what it looks like. In front of the amp, I am running the Ernie Ball VP tuner, then a compressor from Origin Effects, a Nobel's ODR Mini for overdrive, a boost/EQ pedal from Walrus Audio, and last in the chain is the Julia V2, which is a chorus/vibrato pedal. Then in the effects loop, I've got a couple more Walrus Audio pedals, the slow reverb and the Mako D1 delay. The amp has a stereo effects loop, but I'm just running those pedals mono for this demo, and I'm using a clean twin reverb preset with no inbuilt effects coming from the amp, so any of the effects you hear in this next clip are going to be coming from the pedal board that I just showed you. I'm literally using the GTX100 as a clean pedal platform here. mentioned at the start of this video that I think Bluetooth amps are a great practice tool, but of course a lot of them are very gig worthy as well, and the GTX100 for me personally definitely falls into that category, and that's for a number of reasons. One being that it has stereo XLR outs on the back, which is how I've been recording it for this demo, so you don't even have to mic it up. And as you just heard, it takes real pedals very well. So that's typically how I would use it on most gigs. But if I was feeling a bit lazy and I didn't feel like lugging around an amp and a big pedal board to say a small pub gig or something like that, the inbuilt effects are really good, and the foot switch that's included with the amp is just so easy to use. And you know, real pedals are great, but sometimes things go wrong with patch cables and power supplies, and your pedal board just goes down for some reason. And if that happens to you during a gig, and I've been there before, and you don't have a backup solution, that's a less than ideal situation to find yourself in, let's be real. So the fact that I could take the GTX100 and my real pedal board to a gig, and if my pedal board died on me, the fact that I could just pull out the GTX7 foot switch from the back of the amp, plug that in and start using the inbuilt effects, continue on with the gig within a matter of minutes, the fact that I can do that makes this a solid choice for gigging professionals. Speaking from experience, I think that if you're in a wedding and events band or any sort of professional cover or tribute band, really, digital is the way to go nowadays. You know, tube amps are great and so are real pedal boards, but if a tube dies on a wedding gig or your pedal board malfunctions or both of those things happen and you don't have a backup solution with you, good luck. With all that being said, I really like this amp, but it's not perfect, okay? There are some minor issues that I came across, one being the Bluetooth itself. So when you're playing along to backing tracks on, say, Spotify or YouTube, anywhere online really, I've noticed that with this amp, there's a bit of lag between me pressing play on Spotify or YouTube and the track starting and me hearing that coming through the speaker. Which isn't a huge deal when it's just audio you're playing to, but if you're trying to follow along with a YouTube lesson, the audio is slightly out of sync with the video. So that is a problem, and one that I hope Fender will be able to address in some sort of firmware update. The quality of the amp modeling is really good. A lot of the presets sound realistic and tube-like, but I'm not gonna lie to you guys, it's not the same quality of amp modeling that you'd get from, say, a Fractal, and the editing capabilities are not as advanced. There are a couple of things that you can do with some of the top tier modelers on the market today that I've noticed you cannot do with the GTX100. One example being dual amp presets. You can only run one amp and one cab within a particular preset, which is not a huge deal. It's not like I run dual amp setups on all of my Axe Effects presets, but now and then it can be fun to play around with. And whilst there are a lot of different amps and cabs for you to mix and match, there are no options for choosing a mic. So I'm guessing that they just created a default mic emulation of, say, a 57 or something and applied that to all of the cabs. But to be fair, it's not exactly priced to compete with some of those top tier modelers. It retails for £449. So with that in mind, it makes sense that a lot of those more advanced editing features are not available with this amp. And I think its main competition is going to be the likes of the Boss Katana range and the Black Star ID amps. But anyway, I have genuinely really enjoyed using this amp at home and playing around with the Fender Tone app. That's been really cool to mess around with. And of course, if I was able to gig right now, I would gladly take this amp out on a gig. You can read more about the GTX100 from Fender in the description. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Share it with someone you know who is looking to buy a new amp. Click subscribe and the notifications bell for more videos like this in the future. My name is Ross Campbell. Thank you for watching my video, and I hope to see you in the next one.